type of budget and the quantum of money that is there, but how you are able to curb corruption, block leakages, stop people thieving, that matters.
More countries line up to congratulate President-elect and pledge cooperation with the incoming government. Plus, Nigeria demands compensation for victims of xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Welcome to NTA Network News. My name is Muhammad Abubakar. Senate has approved more than 4.493 trillion naira as federal government budget for the 2015 fiscal year. The amount is about 68 billion naira higher than the one proposed by the executive. National Assembly correspondent Adam Musambo reports.
The highlights of the budget indicate over 2.6 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure, 556.9 billion naira capital development, 953.6 billion naira for debt service, 375.6 billion naira statutory transfers, while over 1 trillion naira is estimated as fiscal deficit. The budget is predicated on benchmark oil price of $53 per barrel, crude oil production of 2.2782 million barrels per day, as well as an exchange rate of 190 naira to a dollar. As proposed by the current administration, the budget is designed to build on the successes recorded last year with emphasis on fiscal consolidation, inclusive growth, and job creation. This will be achieved through macroeconomic stability, consolidation on structural reforms, enhancing governance and institutional goals, as well as diversification of the economy.
And our prayer, as usual, is that this will be implemented to the letter by whoever is responsible for the implementation.
The Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriation, Muhammad Machiru, and other senators speak on their impression.
You know, a very substantial part of this budget is being taken by salaries. And I believe that also is as a result of leakages. If we could block those places, I'm sure we are going to have a lot of funds, and I believe that alone would be enough to service this particular budget.
What we saw and we approved is a direct reflection of the present reality of our economy. Going forward, we have to sit down, fasten our seatbelt, and ensure that the government revenues are prudently managed. It's not the type of budget and the quantum of money that is there, but how you are able to curb corruption, block leakages, stop people thieving, that matters.
Nigerians have high expectations on General Muhammad Buhari. There's no way he can operate with this kind of budget. We're going to cut down sadly on recurrent and all other overheads so that let the dividends of democracy go to the Nigerians.
The same figure of 4.493 trillion naira was also passed as 2015 budget by the House of Representatives last Thursday. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Aminu Bashir Ali, says the ministry is consulting with South African government to ensure that adequate compensation is paid to Nigerians who are victims of the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. The minister said this while briefing the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs on the latest developments on the matter. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
Ambassador Wali explained to the committee that 2 Nigerians sustained injury during the attack, 2 families with 8 persons displaced, and 5 shops owned by Nigerians destroyed. These losses were calculated to the tune of 1.3 million rands, equivalent to $100,000. He assured the safety of all Nigerians.
The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs too, Senator Obanikoro, has engaged the Ambassador of South Africa. They have discussed, and I have also engaged the Foreign Minister of South Africa when I was in Jakarta, Indonesia last week. We discussed this issue extensively, and we are engaging South African government to make sure that we support them in their effort to bring this to an end, to make sure that this does not happen again.
Bilateral discussion on this matter in the next 1 week or so, and then all these issues will be taken up, and the guarantees we require will include assurances that this will not happen again.
Members of the committee condemned the attack on Nigerians, stressing that Nigeria has been playing leadership role in Africa. They urged the South African government to take action to address the matter. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Izumba, NTA News.
The federal government has suspended the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Anjuma Sheni, for recalling the acting High Commissioner to South Africa. President Goodluck Jonathan gave the directive for the suspension following the recall of the Nigeria's ambassador, which was described as embarrassing to the federal government. The Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Perry John Calderwood, says Canada will sustain and develop intelligence sharing with Nigerian security agencies to fight insurgency. The Canadian High Commissioner made the pledge while on a congratulatory visit to Nigeria's President-elect, General Muhammadu Buhari. Correspondent Ismail Musa has details of these and other engagements of the President-elect at the Defense House, Abuja.
The Canadian envoy who met the President-elect, General Muhammadu Buhari, behind closed doors, told journalists that Canada will also deepen its relations with Nigeria in the area of health and economy.
Canada views Nigeria as an important partner. Canada and Nigeria already have significant economic ties, trade and investment ties. We believe that there's tremendous potential to increase these ties, including in areas such as agriculture, mining, renewable energy.
After a similar meeting, the French ambassador to Nigeria said France Development Agency is prepared to finance infrastructural development in Nigeria, while his German counterpart, Michael Zena, who also came calling, promised to deepen his country's economic ties with Nigeria.
Boko Haram has become a terrible threat for Nigeria, but also for the neighboring countries. France has worked a lot for better cooperation and collaboration among the countries in the region, and also worked with the Nigerian armed forces in terms of exchange of information to contribute to the common fight against that terrorist threat.
On his part, Nigeria's President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari promised to sustain and develop relations with all the countries. From the Defense House, Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari is scheduled to address the incoming members of the 8th National Assembly on Wednesday, 29th of April, at the ongoing induction certificate course for new legislators holding at the International Conference Center, Abuja. Director General, National Institute for Legislative Studies, Dr. Ladi Hamalai, announced that General Buhari's address is scheduled for 10 in the morning. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor reports that at Tuesday's deliberations, senators-elect and members-elect dwelt on the bill process and the constitutional amendment process.
Elect were educated on various thematic areas. Greater attention was on the bill process and constitutional amendment lecture given by Deputy Clerk Benedict Efeturi.
The bill process in the National Assembly starts with the introduction of bills, first reading, second reading, committee stage, report, third reading, passing of bills.
Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu chaired the session.
The issue of assent of a constitutional amendment has been a major issue of debate. If you are saying that the president must assent, you're also saying that the same constitution should be taken to all the state governors to assent.
The fundamental problem we had was that we refused to understand the fact that there is difference between operation of a federal constitution in a homogeneous country than in a multicultural society like ours.
I believe that the last national conference did a lot of work on our own amendment of constitution.
In the amendment of the constitution, look at all those things and make sure that we forestall such ruling that will put the National Assembly in jeopardy.
But legislators-elect describe the exercise as innovative, instructive, and beneficial.
If you are not well equipped, it will be difficult to be involved in the basic task of lawmaking. With the little knowledge now acquired during the induction course, definitely that will enrich many members.
If you look at the issue of appropriation, we need to develop mechanisms that will enhance revenue generation in this country.
Most people are coming in as members. They don't even know what it is there as a senator, as a member of the House. Well, I'm talking about the privileges. Some even are coming in with the impression that you have immunity.
You can see that even the leadership of the National Assembly, from the Senate and the House of Reps, we are all here to discuss these matters by themselves as they have passed through it.
From the paper presentation to the proceedings of the National Assembly to budgeting system to electing principal officers of the House, there has been an eye-opener.
From the International Conference Center, Abuja, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
Still on the ongoing induction course for new legislators to the incoming National Assembly, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu gave a talk on the structures and responsibilities of the leadership of the National Assembly. It was at the presentation of a book he co-authored. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
With the upcoming inauguration of the 8th National Assembly, a book titled Constitutional Review in an Emerging Democracy, The Nigerian Experience, has been launched with a view to consolidating the knowledge of new parliamentarians. Book reviewer Professor Okechukwu Oko, the Director of Legislative Support Services at the National Institute for Legislative Studies, noted the merits of the book and its perceived impact on the new parliamentarians.
This book, incontestably the most comprehensive analysis of the constitutional review process in Nigeria, offers rich, detailed, insightful accounts of constitutional review in Nigeria.
Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu highlighted his motivation to co-author the book.
This book is essentially an opportunity to put in written form our experience and then to provide a compass for those who come after us so that they'll see where we are coming from and where we are heading.
Senate President David Mark urged the new lawmakers to take full advantage of the experience of the authors and contributors to the book in order to enhance their future impact on the parliamentary process. House Speaker and incoming Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal presided over the session on the opening of a new parliament, with the clerk to the House, Mohammed Sani Omolori, presenting.
The opening of a new parliament is not a ceremonial affair. It is a highly business-like first meeting of a new assembly. A number of essential activities preceding the first sitting and necessary actions on the day of the sitting are briefly discussed here.
The induction course is expected to run for 4 days. From the International Conference Center, Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Still on the legislature, the Adamawa State House of Assembly has impeached its Speaker, Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri. This followed a vote of no confidence passed on him and his deputy by 17 of the 25 State Assembly members who sat outside the Assembly complex. Rayanu Bala has details.
State House of Assembly has been experiencing a series of crises which affected legislative process in the chambers for about 2 months due to its closure. This development led to factionalizing the members, which forced some of the lawmakers to sit outside the State Assembly to remove the Speaker Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri and his deputy Kwamati Lawari. Member representing Vere constituency Saliu Kabillo, who raised a constitutional matter citing Section 92, subsection 2C of the 1999 Constitution as amended, moved for the removal of the Speaker and his deputy for lack of confidence on their leadership. The House session elected Jerry Kundisi, a member representing Gombe constituency, as Speaker, as moved by Saliu Kabillo, member representing Vere constituency. The member representing Nasarawa Binyeri, Umar Abdul Qadir, was also elected as the Deputy Speaker. The new Speaker, Jerry Kundisi, said the leadership change becomes necessary because of the sour relationship between the legislative and the executive arms, as well as high-handedness by the former Speaker.
Therefore, we really have to look for an alternative president, and we found it here.
In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
Away from the legislature now, the peaceful outcome of the 2015 general election has shifted the position of Nigeria as a developing nation to a model nation of modern democracy in the African sub-region. Guests on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, took the position while proposing the way forward for a peaceful nation that will guarantee sustainable development. Correspondent Amina Nigerian has details.
Yes, on the program agreed that now is the time when Nigerians, irrespective of political background, need to come together to build on the successes of the election.
We have made substantial improvement, largely because of the attitude of the leaders themselves and the focus of Nigerians themselves.
There was a call by guests on the need to de-emphasize the role of religion and regional sentiment while focusing on merit for greater national development. Religious leaders, on the other hand, were advised to rise to the clarion call to champion the need for reconciliation.
It is a time to train particularly religious leaders where they can begin to talk more of what unites us than what divides us.
The social engagement of Nigerian state must be away from the religionization process of our political space.
Guests suggested the way forward for the incoming administration.
Nigerians are more interested to see the developments, roads and hospitals.
In their party manifesto, they have promised Nigerians social justice. They must stick to that.
They preached peace and reconciliation through forgiveness, especially among the new leadership. Amina Nujaim, NTA News.
4 persons have been confirmed dead following a Monday night explosion that rocked a private radio station in Okene, Kogi State. The State Police Commissioner Simon Ogunjemilosi disclosed this during an on-the-spot assessment of the scene of the incident. Solomon Ayedeyin has details.
Eyewitness account told NTA News that the incident occurred at about 8 o'clock Monday night when some unknown gunmen stormed the premises of the private FM radio station, sporadically opened fire and detonated some explosive devices.
2 security men, the engineer, and the carpenter came to mend this door, the door for us. He was also killed. 4, we lost 4 people.
Kogi State Commissioner of Police Adeyemi Ogunjemilusi said his men will immediately commence investigation into the matter with a view to bringing the perpetrators to justice.
We are prepared and we have assured the management that we are going to provide security here, and we are also now going to look deeper into other critical infrastructure, the NTA, and the other stations we have. We have to now take a proactive measure.
Survivors of the incident are receiving medical attention at the Okene General Hospital. Kogi State Commissioner for Information Haja Zainab Okino, while condemning the attack, directed security agencies in the state to be vigilant and increase their surveillance on all media organizations. In Okene, Kogi State, Solomon Ayedeyin, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Acting Inspector General of Police Solomon Arati has expressed concern on the recent attacks on media houses and journalists in Nigeria. Consequently, the IGP has ordered tight security around media houses nationwide. This is in line with the mandate of the Nigeria Police Force to protect lives and property of the citizenry under the law. The Inspector General of Police acknowledges the roles of the media in the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria and advised the citizens to be vigilant and proactive, as well as report any suspicious movement or persons to the police for appropriate action. Meanwhile, Information Minister Senator Patricia Akwashiki has condemned in strong terms the bombing of Tao FM station in Okene, Kogi State by unknown assailants. The minister described the attack on the radio station as a criminal act and an assault on democracy and the freedom of expression. Restating that for democracy to be consolidated in the country, citizens must imbibe the culture and temperament for freedom of expression to flourish without inhibition. The minister, however, called on security agencies to, as a matter of urgency, launch an investigation into the attack on Tao FM station on Okene. The minister also restated President Goodluck Jonathan's administration and commitment to freedom of expression, which he said is cardinal to democracy. Kano State government has directed the contractor handling the pedestrian bridge project, which recently collapsed on a taxi cab, to adequately compensate the families of the 3 persons killed. Correspondent Abdullahi Mustafa reports that the State Commissioner for Works, Housing and Transport, Abba Kabir Yusuf, asked for the suspension of the project pending the outcome of investigation by the team of engineers.
The government has in the last few years been erecting reinforced concrete overhead pedestrian bridges at strategic locations. One of such is situated along Sheikh Jafar Road. In the course of putting the crossing beams by the contractor over the weekend, part of it slipped down and hit a taxi cab passing underneath. All the 3 occupants were killed instantly. Few hours later, the other supporting beam also slipped down and injured 1 person. This Kano State Commissioner of Works, Housing and Transport, Abba Kabir Yusuf, said is unacceptable and directed the contractor to suspend work on the site pending investigation by the ministry's engineers.
To investigate the circumstances that led to the slip of these beams, to find out whether there was any negligence on the part of the contractor.
The contractor has been directed to ensure adequate compensation for the bereaved families, in addition to support from the state government. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Building a culture of prevention of occupational safety and health is the focus of the 2015 World Day for Safety at Work. The annual program, an initiative of the United Nations, hopes to direct global attention to emerging trends on the magnitude of work-related injuries, disease and fatalities at the place of work. Correspondent Emmanuel Ayimiro examines the role of employers in providing safe and healthy working environment.
An estimated 2.3 million people die as a result of work-related causes, where over 600 million new cases of occupational illness are reported, according to the International Labour Organization. To promote decent working environment, the Ministry of Labour and other stakeholders call for urgent action to end the escalating incidences of occupational accidents.
With the alarming international statistics of 1 work-related death occurring every 15 seconds and 6,000 deaths every day, it is obvious that work kills more people at once across the globe than malaria, HIV and AIDS.
Workers in the factories, they have to use the safety devices provided. So we just put it on when it's, say supervisor coming. But no, we are saying make safety a way of your life.
What role is the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, which has the mandate to promote social security, playing in safety at work?
Preventive measures can only succeed if you are alerting people. So we are going around from pillar to pillar, talking to all employers, whether big or small, talking to workers' groups and everybody, to ensure that they imbibe the culture of safety.
Be able to see significant investment in education of the workforce.
ILO representative wants Nigeria to adopt ILO Convention 155 and 187, which promote framework for occupational safety and health. In Abuja, Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
After several years of uncertainty, Nitel has finally been fully privatized. The new owner is Natcom Consortium. The company paid over $250 million to win the bid. Ruben Okala has details.
Natcom Consortium.
With that declaration, the moribund Nitel hopes to bounce back to life again. Established in 1984 and commercialized in 1992, the federal government-owned company was split in 1996 into Terrestrial Line and GSM, MTEL. 4 attempts were made to privatize it, but hit brick walls. The Communications Act 2003 gave it a legal framework upon which the process of privatizing Nitel commenced.
It is common belief in the Nigerian press and in the business and government circles that the privatization of Nitel is jinxed. Today's events show that against spoken.
Today's formal handover of NITEL and NTA access to NATCOM consortium is a clear indication that where there is focus and determination, there is a way.
Based on our assessment of their submission and our assessment of their financial capabilities and the technical partners they have in their team, we believe that they will stand their own ground.
Nigerians remain nostalgic about NITEL's terrestrial lines and public phone booths, as well as other essential services. In the face of challenges ahead, how prepared is the new NITEL owner?
Technology has moved further from where it used to be. But what we are telling you and the commitment we are giving Nigerians is that we will bring to you latest technologies that you can find anywhere in the world.
Behold the moribund NITEL. With the taking over by NATCOM Development, it is expected that this first indigenous telecom company will bounce back in view of the sentimental attachment to it by Nigerians. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
Up ahead, Investment and Technology Promotion Office opens in Nigeria to promote international best practices in industrialization. Details of these and more after this break. The ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Nigeria, No Kyun-dik, says discussions with Korean investors to partner with Nigeria in her mines and steel development sector are ongoing. The ambassador disclosed it during a visit to the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Muhammad Musa Sada, in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf has the report.
No Kyun-dik's visit is to primarily seek areas of collaboration with the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. He is to report findings of his visit back to the investors at a later meeting.
Exchanging views and opinions on this matter, I would like to find a way and to make good advices to the South Korean companies who are interested in investing their money to this the mineral industry in Nigeria.
Minister of Mines and Steel Development Muhammad Musa Sada, who welcomed the initiative, says Nigeria has kick-started the processes of moving from a mono economy and already put in place a framework for diversification of the economy.
The government is no more willing to do the business of mining. So government wants to regulate and administer, while the private sector will be responsible for doing the business.
He promised all investors an enabling environment to operate. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The Federal Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment has been at the forefront of the industrialization of the Nigerian economy as a viable alternative to the dependency on oil by the country. Another step in that direction is the inauguration of the Investment and Technology Promotion Office, ITPO, in Nigeria, an initiative that will bring Nigeria at par with international best practices in industrialization. Omotola Omojala has the report.
ITPO situation in Nigeria, the Minister Olusegun Aganga says, is a result of the successes the nation has recorded with industrialization of the nation.
The long-term objective here is to drive the process of rapid industrial development, and I emphasize the word rapid. We have lost ground for many decades. We have started the process now. We cannot afford to take 2 steps forward, 1 step backward.
Country representative of UNIDO says the ITPO will help develop the country through technology transfer, aiding human and material resources development. He urged stakeholders to ensure continuity of the project.
My hope as we launch this program together is that we continue along with policy consistency.
The Investment and Technology Promotion Office in Nigeria is the first and only one in Africa and will be partnering with other ITPOs in China, Bahrain, South Korea, Russia and Italy. In Abuja, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
The federal government has declared Friday, May 1st as public holiday to commemorate the 2015 Workers' Day. Minister of Interior Abba Moro, who announced this in a statement issued in Abuja, congratulated all Nigerians on their resilience and commitment in the face of challenges of daily living. The statement enjoined them to sustain their support for President Goodluck Jonathan and his efforts to build a stable, peaceful, and economically vibrant nation. Ademola Adeoye is in our Lagos studio to update us on the petrol situation in that axis. Hello, Ademola. What's the latest on the fuel situation in Lagos?
Good evening and welcome to Lagos. Lagosians have raised concerns over the recent fuel scarcity situation currently being experienced in the metropolis. Olajide Bello, who visited some service stations to monitor the situation, reports.
Long queues of vehicles characterized major petrol stations that had the premium motor spirits PMS, while those without the product were under lock and key. This development has resulted in reduced vehicular movement and long hours of wait by commuters at bus stops. How have Lagosians been adapting to the sudden fuel scarcity?
It's not easy. I don't know. We don't even know what is happening because we don't even hear anything on the radio, even in TV. We don't hear anything, but every day is like this. I don't know.
It has been very difficult. Almost every free station I've not been selling fuel. I've been going up and down over 4 hours now. Not locate anywhere to buy fuel.
This morning, as early as 6:30, I've left the house to go to Konoyel there to get fuel. When I got there, no fuel. Even last night, I wanted to go out, no fuel.
A marketer who spoke to NTA News revealed the cause of the sudden fuel scarcity.
Go to the depot and see what is happening there. It's not easy. It's not even easy for us to even lift this product from the depot. Are you now going, like, getting the sufficient product that you need for your own station to sell? Not easy.
Lagosians, however, appeal to the federal government and relevant stakeholders to intervene and arrest the situation before it deteriorates further.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has appealed to the National Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, and the Petroleum Tankers Drivers, PTD, to call off the strike, which is contributory to the current fuel scarcity. In a statement, the Group General Manager, Public Affairs Division, Ohi Aligbe, says the corporation has sufficient stock of petrol at its coastal depot to service the country for 27 days besides the stock it holds in the National Strategic Reserve. The NNPC stressed that it is working towards a speedy resolution of the issues that have led to the strike, which includes monies owed major marketers to ensure hitch-free distribution of products across the country. The Nigeria Police Force Lagos State Command has appealed to parents and guardians to pay extra care and attention to their children and wards in order to ensure their safety. Commissioner of Police Kayode Aderanti made the appeal while parading some suspects at the command. Olajide Bello reports.
May 2014, 15-year-old Precious Okoro was kidnapped, and guess what? Her cousin was the mastermind. She went through some ordeals in Libya and bare testimony to the agony of young Nigerians in that land.
I saw so many Nigerian girls on back and bra. I was not like, why are you dressed like this? You go inside, look at me, they are passing. Say, this one the one waiting you called you.
Parading two members of the five-man gang said to have been responsible for the kidnap and trafficking, Commissioner of Police for Lagos State, Kayode Aderanti, said it was a great task for the crack detectives.
Employed cutting-edge technology and adopted out-of-the-box tactics to achieve results. At every turn, he saved liberation of this innocent victim. 15-year-old girl was top on our operational engagement. Taking into account the pains and trauma of the parents.
The police commissioners say Precious is going through some treatment and rehabilitation. He said efforts are in top gear to further collaborate with Interpol National Central Bureau in Libya towards recovering other victims like Precious in Lagos. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The prevention and management of malaria in sub-Saharan Africa can only be effective when there is adequate investment towards the treatment and prevention of the disease. The Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research made the remark at a symposium organized by the Institute in commemoration of the 2015 World Malaria Day.
In spite of global efforts to reduce the burden of malaria, the disease still remains a major public health challenge in the African region. The Director General, Professor Innocent Uja, who was represented, noted that it is crucial for Africans to maintain a healthy lifestyle, as it is imperative for governments to promote sustainable funding for malaria control and eradication. Medical experts at the forum also highlighted drug counterfeiting, self-medication, absence of insecticides as some of the challenges confronting the prevention of malaria.
We also need investment in behavioral change communication. Many people have this net, they are not using it. Many people still have malaria, they are using traditional herbs. These people need to change their behavior and be able to use the appropriate medication.
In terms of research, providing evidence-based research, the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research has been on the forefront of doing that for the country.
The symposium had in attendance medical doctors, researchers, lab scientists, and other stakeholders from the health sector. The theme for this year's World Malaria Day is Invest in the Future, Defeat Malaria. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
Consequently, the CBN has taken measures to address this situation. Shadala Mekie has details of these and trading figures on the Nigeria stock market.
Many thanks, Kudu. Good evening and a warm welcome to Business Segments. Worried by the rising trend of non-performing loans, the central bank has ordered banks to publish lists of companies and individuals to curb the trend. The Director of Banking Supervision, Tokumbo Martins, says the new rule, which takes effect from May 1st, is to ensure that the 3.5%, which represents 15 trillion naira, does not exceed the prudential 5% limits, and also to improve the banking culture in Nigeria. Nigeria's banking industry is under pressure, with the country's economy reliant on oil for 90% of export earnings, and 2/3 of government's revenue suffering from plunge in oil prices. The move, many believe, would deter borrowers from defaulting.
But of late, a few events have happened that has actually impacted the banking industry again. For example, the collapse of crude oil, and really a lot of them have lent a lot of money to people who deal in whether the upstream or the downstream. Things can be really, really bad, if you don't check it, if you don't take some decisions. So not only I support the naming and shaming, I equally support other measures that will be put in place to let people know that you cannot just go to a bank, borrow money, mess the bank up, put depositors' funds in jeopardy, and at the end of the day, use taxpayers' money to bail yourself out.
Meanwhile, the equities market closed today on a negative note as the oil share index depreciated by 0.55%. Here's the graphic details. And that concludes today's package. I am Chiazalam Ekie. Kudu is back to you for more on the news.
Thank you, Chiazalam. Telecom giant Globacom has unveiled its mobile health scheme known as Glow Health Cover. The network says the initiative is to make healthcare affordable to its teeming subscribers. Ruben Okala has details.
Register under the Glow Health Cover. All a subscriber needs to do is simply dial *616# and you're ready to go. And with 35 naira daily, 215 naira per week, or 1,000 naira monthly, you can access any of its over 8,000 accredited hospitals nationwide. The scheme has the nod of the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS.
The efficiency of this program cannot be overemphasized. One, we are limiting the cost of enrollment such that All we are just capturing is the data you use to register your SIM.
I also want to congratulate GLOW for the various benefits that are embedded in this program, the GLOW Health Cover.
The GLOW insurance cover also include accident and emergency services as well as extensive maternal and child health.
Feel that affordability and reach is what we would be able to provide, and hopefully that a lot of people and millions of Nigerians have access to the service.
GLOW, the first indigenous mobile network, presently has about 13 million subscribers, representing 21% share of the Nigerian telecoms market. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. Global tidbits and some sports news when we come back.
Non-South Africans resident in that country is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Xenophobia and implications for African unity with those who should know. Don't be told. Join us.
Every time you get on the pitch, nothing feels better than giving 100%. When you hear the sound of thousands of our fans roaring, you just have to. And for us, nothing's better than Chivita 100%. With 100% goodness and 100% satisfaction. Go all the way with 100% or nothing. Chivita 100%. 100% or nothing.
The body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another.
What keeps you so cool, man?
Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection with added menthol to protect from germs. Cool gives you maximum protection against germs every day from head to toes and an invincible icy feel. For super cool confidence, use Dettol Cool.
Dettol. Be 100% sure.
To our Sokoto studio with more news.
Thank you, Muhammad, and welcome to Sokoto. Inadequate awareness and high poverty level have been identified among the major factors responsible for the increase in cases of vesico-vaginal fistula, particularly among the rural women. Muhammad Nasser takes a look at the situation and efforts made to reverse the trend. The report.
Vesico-vaginal fistula is a major health problem in developing countries where 3 out of every 1,000 deliveries, especially in West Africa, develop VVF, and about 200,000 women await treatment in Nigeria alone.
Before, people are not aware that this type of disease has a place which it can be taken care of. Now they are aware that these diseases can be brought up to a facility where it can be treated completely.
A number of biological, social, and environmental factors contribute to the high prevalence of VVF.
VVF Center in Modern Abuja Women and Children Hospital was provided by Sokoto State Government in 1997 with a view to providing free treatment to VVF patients. About 18 years after, the cases of VVF are on the increase. So what can be attributed to this, and how can this be addressed?
Unless we prevent the VVF from the grassroots, we cannot stop the VVF. Because if we continue refer, the people are still ignorant. The poverty is existing. People are not coming to the health facility from the primary health care to get the treatment when they become pregnant.
In view of the magnitude of the consequences of the disease, there is need for collective efforts to complement government commitments in creating awareness, especially to rural communities, with a view to preventing them from falling victims of the VBF. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasser, NTA News.
And that's our package from Sokoto. It's back to Kudu in Abuja.
Thank you, Bala. Global tidbits now. Equatorial Guinea and China strengthen diplomatic ties by signing agreements on education and trade. And the United Nations wades into the Burundi crisis. Plus, cleanup in Baltimore as the United States deploys troops to quell riots. This and more on Global Tidbits with Ronke Kolawole.
Equatorial Guinea and China have strengthened their 45-year relationship through the signing of agreements covering diplomacy, education, trade, aviation, and financing. Elsewhere, the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in a statement said he has dispatched a special envoy to Burundi for talks with President Nkurunziza. Burundi has been engulfed in crisis for 3 days following the declaration of President Nkurunziza to run for third term. In Nepal, 3 days of national mourning has been declared for the victims of Saturday's 7.8 magnitude earthquake, in which more than 5,000 people have died. The UN estimated that 8 million people have been affected, while water, food, and electricity are in short supply. And in the United States, thousands of troops and outside police officers have been deployed to Baltimore following the violent protests that erupted after the death of a black man, Freddie Gray, in police custody. A week-long curfew has also been declared, while the 6 policemen connected with the case have been suspended. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
On in sports, national under-23 team coach Samson Siasia promises to give more players opportunity to showcase their talent as Manny Pacquiao made his official appearance alongside Floyd Mayweather in Las Vegas. Kenya Magwadike has details on Sports Update.
Coach Samson Siasia says some exciting players are coming through the Flying Eagles and his under-23 side with the potential to return Nigeria to the pinnacle of world football. Siasia, who spoke exclusively to NTA Sports, said with monitoring, scouting and technical instruction, Nigerian sides will be world beaters again.
Hopefully we will see some young ones are going to be on break during this season. When at the end of the season they will come to Nigeria and I will see them.
Most valuable player of the FIFA Under-17 Championship UAE 2013, Kelechi, had more attention to the development of golf among children in order to produce future stars. Speaking to Kayode Adeniyi, Lady Captain IBB International Golf and Country Club Abuja, Ketumi Alaza, advocated for more clinics for the children.
We believe if we are able to catch them young and teach them the fundamentals at that age, we will begin to see emerging champions.
Manny Pacquiao is now in Las Vegas ahead of his historic bout with American Floyd Mayweather Jr. on May 2nd. The 36-year-old who arrived in a 54-seater luxury Volvo amidst large crowd of fans.
Mrs. Bemi Rosiji at age 89. She was married to Chief Ayo Rosiji, a former Minister of Information in the First Republic and National Secretary of the defunct Action Group of Nigeria. There will be a wake at the Muson Center, Lagos, on Tuesday by 6 o'clock in the evening, while the funeral service will hold on Wednesday at the Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina, Lagos, at 11 in the morning. She is survived by 5 children. That concludes NTA Network News tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.